Hey, it's Ted here. I'm in my backyard and I'm getting ready to try and figure out what's up with this John Deere tractor I own. So let's take a look. All right, so it's L120 automatic. Had it for several years, done a bunch of stuff. I put a video in there about putting a fuel filter on the other side that's over here because I had a lot of fuel issues. So I put a fuel water separator over there. You can see another video of mine on that. And right now, the last two times I used it, it started really choking out and then running like it had a lot of oil in the cylinder. And I found out that the dipstick was way over full. Drained the oil, found gasoline in it. So a long time ago, I had to put this shutoff on here, and I put this shutoff valve. You can get these on Amazon cheap. And you know, I shut it off every time I use the tractor. So I said, well, fuel can't be draining gravity feed because you got this fuel pump up here, and it's got to go really from the fuel tank in the back. It's really got to go uphill. So fuel pump works on crankcase, alternating crankcase pressure. So you know what I'm thinking is that fuel pump is who knows how old, diaphragm's ruptured in it, and it's putting a little bit of fuel into the crankcase. Probably every 3 or 4 times I use it, that's when this is happening. I notice there's a lot of wash out here. So we ordered a brand new fuel pump on online, and I'm gonna take this one apart once I'm done and I get the new one installed. Just filled it up with some fresh 30 weight, put a new filter on it, and I gotta go back and start taking care of these leaves, mulch them up, and then get them cleaned up. So we're gonna probably fix this one pretty easy. Hey, it's Ted. I'm back here. So I got the pump for the John Deere L120 here, and let me show you what we got. All right, so gonna be a pretty simple installation. A few hoses, 2 bolts it looks like, and just fits like this. No big deal. This is an aftermarket one. Replaces stens. I tried to find a stens unit and I couldn't find one online, so I just went with a match to that. So we're gonna see what happens here. All right, so 2 bolts, looks like 10 millimeter each, 10 millimeter socket. Yep, that's that. We're gonna rotate this hose off first, get this out of the way. This is coming into the fuel pump from the fuel tank. There we go. And I've got a shut off on that, which is nice so the fuel doesn't pour out of the fuel tank. Now there's a tie wrap up here for the fuel line. I put a little fuel filter on the back side of this a long time ago, and a water separating fuel filter too, and changed this fuel line when I had a lot of problems with the fuel. So you can see the little filter there that I put in. And that goes to the carburetor. And then this hose down here, you can't really see, is the only piece that I'm a little concerned about that I may have to order. I meant to order it, and I think I forgot because it's not in the box. So I'm hoping that this will be okay. So this is the valve cover, and the valve cover creates crankcase pressure. So you're going to have some crankcase pressure every time a cylinder fires. A little bit of blow-by gas is in here, and on this side of the engine they use that crankcase pressure to compress the diaphragm inside here, which pumps the fuel up to the carburetor. So if the diaphragm fails, then the fuel drains down and it goes into the valve cover and ultimately in the oil pan, and that's what's happened here. I'm pretty positive. I'm going to see if I can't open it up afterwards just to verify that, but I'm 99% positive that's the problem. So that has a little grommet that fits into the actual valve cover. I'll wipe that off in a second. So if this hose splits, you're going to lose that alternating crankcase pressure. And right on the back side, yes indeed, it does have a small split in it. And that is definitely going to affect this in the future. It looks like it's right on the seam too, so you can kind of see it's got a little split in it. So if I need to, yeah, there it is. I don't know if you can see that reasonably well, but yep, it's got a little split on it. And that has to fit inside valve cover here. So I want to clean the dirt away from that. There we go. Okay, got a can of brake clean here, just clean this area up a little bit, and a piece of tape just to cover that hole up. Enough to be perfect, but I just want to keep that out of there. And I'm just going to clean this off a little bit. I got to put that tube back in. So that tube has to go into that housing, which takes a little bit of work to get it in there. Okay, there we go. Get that back in there. And put the new pump in. There we go. Bolts back on here, snug them up. Now they got covers on the hoses so you don't get debris in them, which is nice. Okay, so this fuel line goes back on. And tie wrap. Again, I like to use these curved tie wraps. They're for marine application for hoses. And it seals really, really well. Alright, second fuel line, got to take that little rubber cap off. Those are nice. I'm going to keep those. I don't know what for, but work that one on. Second tie wrap. Okay, there we go. Replacement of the old McCuney fuel pump. And what I want to do is I want to open it up and see if I can get in there to see if the diaphragm in fact has failed. That would be why fuel is dumping in the crankcase and I was getting that excess fuel. So it's a long period. I ran this for 4 or 5 times before the oil level started to get really high, and then it started to whip up the oil in the crankcase and get it by the rings and started to smoke, and that stalled the engine. So if you have that, suddenly your oil level gets really high and the oil starts to get thrown up into the cylinder, and it'll suddenly start burning all kinds of white gray smoke. That probably is that fuel pump is leaking into the crankcase and it's filling up the oil level with gasoline, which obviously is not good. Okay, I took the pump and I hit it with a hammer because I couldn't figure out any way to get it apart. Bakelite plastic explodes, so make sure you got safety glasses on. But a simple little plastic one-way check valve on one side. There's another check valve in here, and there's the lower diaphragm, which doesn't look like it's in too bad a shape. And the one in between that and the fuel is this diaphragm, and this is the diaphragm that obviously you can see if I can get the light right. Definitely has cracks in it. It's probably got a hole in it someplace, a little pinhole in it that's letting that gasoline through. So definitely this was the culprit of that problem. So yeah, there's a tear right there. I can't really, there it is. There's a tear right there in it, and it's just all dry rotted. I'm sure that over the years it goes bad, but also that alcohol fuel doesn't do it any good either. So, you know, that's okay. So that takes care of fixing this fuel pump problem with the fuel going into the engine. If you like the video, please subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.